At the end of the day, he's just what Jared Leto had tattooed on his forehead. He's damaged. This is our first episode of Fictional Character Friday, which is something, I know we talked about, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about like some fictional characters. I know I talk about like murder on this podcast and just why people tick, why people snap, like that stuff just interests me, right? Just fascinates me. But I also watch a lot of shows that involve, they may have some like serial killers or people that might snap randomly out of nowhere, with a propensity toward evil, if you will. So I figured, why not talk about some fictional characters too and see how they hold up against the actual real killers and see how the writing is, comparatively speaking. And I'm glad you can join me, the seated savant here on this journey. This
Thank you for having
journey.
me.
No, of course, man. I'm feeling like, this is gonna be a regular thing here. So it's gonna be our journey into the minds of killers. So our first person that we wanted to discuss, I mean, if anybody who knows me knows one of my favorite characters in like the nerd sphere, right? And the DC comic world and the comic book world all together is a villain, obviously, by the name of the Joker. That's my guy.
The Clown Prince of Crime himself.
The clown prince of crime himself. So, yeah, should we well, let me ask you this. Who was your favorite Joker? You can movies, TV shows.
Just for nostalgia's sake, I'd have to say the animated series. The animated series, Mark Hamill Joker.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but I mean, he doesn't drop bodies, but that's more just because oh shit, kids show. So they
Well, yeah.
can't show him. They can't show him dropping bodies, but that's why they do the freaky smile, and it's functionally the same thing. It's like
No, I
they're
mean
dead.
he's no,
They're
no,
dead.
he's still like eerie even in that show. So,
And then Heath Ledger he played the character really, really well. So did what's his name from the 2019 movie.
oh, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix did a great job. Like I'm not trying to diss his performance at all. I don't know. Just something about Heath Ledger's performance. Just
No. That movie is a banger. All right. So, one of the best things I do like about the Joker is that, no one really knows his origin, which is just all of a part of his mystique, right? Like no one
yeah,
knows definitively his background.
because the thing is, there have also been. I mean, there have been different continuities with where you occasionally will hear a Joker's name, but they aren't all the same.
No, no,
Like
there are.
in the 2019 movie, it was it was
Was it Arthur
Arthur
Fleck?
Arthur Fleck. It's also been Jack Napier.
Yeah.
A couple other names. Point being, I think it works in a weird way, just because you're not supposed to know who the Joker is.
No.
Like I think that's kind of the point. You're not supposed to know. You're supposed to infer stuff.
I think
Um,
by his actions in of itself kind of shows you who he is. Like that's who the Joker is. His personality, what he does in Gotham. Like
yeah,
that's it's like you like and then you get to the point where you don't even care really about his origin, right? You're just so caught up in like
the mayhem.
yeah, the fucking mayhem of it all that you don't even you're like, oh, that's right. He does have a backstory, but you don't give a fuck because you're going along for the ride.
I mean, nothing better to me at least shows that whole like the backstory doesn't fucking matter.
Mhm.
Then do you want to know how I got these scars?
There you
It
go.
was a different story every
Every
time,
time.
and they've
Ev
got nothing to do with each other.
No.
They're so distinct. and that's the point, I think. At least, at least in that incarnation, that was the point. It's like I can be anybody.
Yeah,
Uh and the essence of his whole thing with Batman, at least on his side, is that you're one bad day away from being me. His definition besides, mass murderer is a foil to Batman. And he knows that and he loves that. That's why, like, there are incarnations where people have found out who Batman is and Joker's just fucking killed them before they could tell anybody. Because
yeah,
he doesn't want to know.
yeah. That's all part of the fun for him. It's the game. It's the game. He's like, "Don't ruin my fucking fun."
Remember in Arkham City, it really early on, Harley is about to take off Batman's mask, and he just says, "Get back here!" Like,
Yeah, don't fucking do it. All right, I was doing some research, right? I like to refer to myself as a student of psychology, still, like, even though I have a couple of psych degrees, I have a bachelor's and a master's in IO psych, even though that's not pertaining to like criminology or forensic psychology, it's still an insight into the human mind, right? The human condition,
mhm.
why we behave the way we do. So I call myself a student because I'm always still learning. I think we're always still learning no matter what we do or how old we get. But yeah, so some classifications, right? Some diagnosis for the Joker. I came up with antisocial personality disorder, just clear cut psychopathy. Like I just think that goes without saying, right?
Yeah,
Just some narcissistic personality disorder thrown in there, some schizoaffective features, which is just like a combination of both schizophrenia and some mood disorder of some kind.
fair enough.
But at the end of the day, he's still highly functional. And I mean, from what I've seen, he really doesn't show like any cognitive deficits, really. I mean,
You,
I
you
mean, he's
can't
pretty
fuck
high
up
functioning.
Batman. You can't fuck up Batman if you
There you
aren't
go.
dealing with at least a full deck. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like you just can't.
And Batman's considered the best detective in the world. So like
He's Holmes and Joker's Moriarty.
it's a perfect comparison. All right, so personality traits of the Joker, a personality assessment, I should say, that I came up with. So he shows hallmarks of psychopathy, superficial charm, lack of empathy, being manipulative, there's impulsivity, and a grandiose sense of self. I mean,
Look at that getup. It's so subdued.
isn't he so subtle, right? He's not screaming, "Look at me" at all. He's not trying to find or trying to seek any type of attention whatsoever. But unlike classical psychopathy, right? His crimes rarely committed. They're not really for financial gain or status, right? But instead, they're designed to subvert social order, right? And test
Mhm.
philosophical constructs. Like that's his thing.
Yeah, I think especially in the Dark Knight,
Hmm.
the one thing you can I at least think you can kind of pin on the Joker as far as like a motive. All he wants to do is prove he's not the only one.
Right.
Madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Like he wants to prove that under the same or similar circumstances, there's going to be another him, and he proved it to some degree with Dent. Failed to prove it with the prison ship. But aside from that, Um, he doesn't have a motive beyond just chaos for chaos's sake. The classic, we do this and I kill this guy. I kill this guy. And then it gets to, you're going to kill me, aren't you? And he goes, no, I'm going to kill the bus driver. Bus driver?
Yeah. He's like, well, I just want to settle for one of you when I can get the whole fucking bus. Like the inherent absurdity and fragility of human constructs, right? Morally, social order, and identity. Like he wants to show that everyone's just a push away from crossing that line, from snapping, from breaking, essentially. So I think that's his pure motivation. I have his fixation on Batman reflects this. As he perceives Batman's rigid ethical code as a personal challenge, the Joker frequently orchestrates scenarios that force others into morally compromising positions to validate his nihilistic world view. So yeah,
I, I do
yeah.
have a question.
Hmm.
Um, the Joker is shown several times in several different mediums. He does not want to kill Batman. Kills just about everybody else, but he doesn't want to kill Batman.
Right.
But he wants Batman to suffer. Is that reflective in any way in real psychology, or is that just comic book bullshit? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what your policy is for language in this.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I've sworn already. So I think you're fine. I think you're fine. Plus we're like past the threshold, I believe. So no, not that I've seen when it comes to like him and that back and forth with Batman. He like wants Batman to see that like what you're fighting for is like meaningless, right? Like
You're fighting for a
everything,
lie.
yeah, you're fighting for a lie, nothing matters, there's no point. It's like you're not really making a difference. You lock this guy up, he'll be back on the streets in a day or two. Like Batman has this ethical code, this thing, these rules, right, that he can't break or he won't break. And the Joker's like, if he like, just do it. Like I'm gonna still keep running amok and doing what I do because I know that you won't kill me, you won't stop me, which you should, because to me like all this is meaningless, like nothing, nothing matters. And I think, and as far as real world, the real world is concerned, there are a lot of serial killers who see people as objects, right? They don't see people for who they are anymore. There's that lack of empathy, remorse and care for human life. And they can kill people like it was nothing and talk to you like they had just gone to the store and bought some milk or had a bad day at work. Like it's it's crazy, just the human mind and the lack of care and concern for others. And and I've come across killers that see the world and it's just like nothing matters. Like I killed because like because I can, because I can do it and no one stopped me. And you know, I just kept doing it. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of it, I feel like his character is written well in the sense that he has that dynamic with Batman too. But at the same time, he does have some characteristics of an actual serial killer. He just might be a little bit more focused as far as, having that one person that he can prove, these things to. I haven't come across anyone. But if anyone in the chat knows anyone who's similar to the Joker in a sense where, it's their motivations, I guess, center around not caring about the world or the people in it and being very nihilistic, I should say, like, let me know. Um, yeah, I mean, so I haven't seen anyone like that personally. But that might be just, the writing in itself for the character.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just I'm not nearly as well versed in the serial killers kind of zeitgeist as you are, and what that means. So I've just been curious, like how much of it makes sense in like world terms, which surprisingly, except for the relationship with Batman, ironically enough, it seems to fit pretty well.
No, it does. I mean, the Joker, he's organized chaos. Like that's that's the Joker, right? Like in the real world sense, he'd be an organized serial killer, because he's smart, but he wants to lead people and let them believe that he's not. He just does things randomly. But at the end of the day, like he's fucking clever. He's smart. He tends to plan his crimes out. He watches the news. He knows what's going on. He knows how to manipulate people and get people to do what he wants when he wants them to do it. I'm sure he has a very high IQ. Like I'm sure of it. Socially competent. So these things he definitely reflects, like, in the real world, like a genuine organized serial killer.
Does it make sense for a serial killer not to have an MO? To just attack target again, like everything the Joker does, for the lulz.
No, yes. So obviously when when they develop this MO, right, they have this pattern that they like to follow. They have this victim selection, right? For Ted Bundy, it was brunettes with long hair, right? Like that was his victim preference. The girls who I think it looked like one of his ex-girlfriends is what I read, but he tended to favor women who had long dark hair. The toolbox killers, the leader, he was just like, oh, we tend to go towards younger attractive girls because those were the girls I was attracted to. So that's why I'm pretty sure it was his name was Roy, I'm pretty sure. But um yeah, he was like, yeah, these are the killers that I like. These are the girls that I'm attracted to. So like that's why we targeted them. And then my partner just kind of went along with the plan. There was another individual known as the Brownout Strangler. Ironically, we share the same birthday. So
Uh oh.
yeah, I know, right? I will do something on him, but he like targeted women with nice voices. Like that was his thing if they had a nice voice, and his reasoning was like I just wanted that voice all to myself. Like that was his reasoning why he selected those women. So yeah, so typically there is like a victimology, right? But then a lot of cases there's an instance where the killer doesn't have a victimology, right? Where they're driven more on, the availability of the crime rather than the fantasy, right? Richard Ramirez was a perfect example of him, the Night Stalker. I don't know if you remember
Yes.
Richard Ramirez, but yeah, so he just broke into people's homes, right? Didn't care if the victims were black, white, Hispanic, Asian, like he did not Caucasian, he didn't care. He used a gun, he used a knife, he used anything at his disposal as well. For him, it was all about the need to exert control and dominance, right? That was his primary goal. And I think people who don't have a victim selection, like that's more what they're motivated by, right? The availability of it all and the need to exert dominance. I feel like the Joker definitely exerts a need to. I think the Joker is driven by the availability of it all, right? I think that I don't know if he necessarily fantasizes about his crimes. I know he plans them out and he wants them to go a certain way, but I don't know if he's like fantasizing like unless it's in regard to Batman, and maybe that's what he fantasizes about more, right? Like how I can turn Bruce Wayne. What can I do? Maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that. But as far as like,
Maybe I'll prove my point. I'll
yeah,
finally prove my point.
some Joe Schmo on the street or some bank or something like that. I feel like for him it's all about the availability of it all. And I think intrinsically for him there is a need to control, and to exert his dominance over victims, even though he finds the world, even though he possesses this nihilistic worldview. So
Case in point, when he killed Robin,
correct,
beat
correct,
him with a crowbar.
exactly, exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean,
And he
that
might
was
have
the first thing I thought of. I'm just like,
And
oh,
he
that.
might have no, yeah, that's true. And he might have fantasized about that too. Like, this is what I can do. Maybe if I just beat Robin to death, maybe Batman will see that, see what I've done, and snap. And let's see if he'll cross that line. Let's see it. And I think that's what's gratifying for the Joker is like these fantasies where he can attempt to turn Bruce.
Yeah.
Like these things might be fun for him.
I mean, probably the closest he came.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
It's probably the closest he came
No,
outside of
yeah,
Elseworld stories.
true.
Like,
No, that's very true. I remember a lot of the Batman animated series where like it'd be like him with Harley and he's just sitting there bored. Like he's just bored. Like he just wants to have some fun. He's sitting there bored. Like he could, it just he could be
Okay,
thinking.
let's go fuck with Batman. Like I'm
Exactly.
bored.
Maybe if I just go do this and have some fun, maybe that'll be exciting enough for me if I go do this and go do that. But I am curious if there is anyone who is closely related to the Joker in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, because I only ask because what brings that to me is the fact that a lot of the serial killers, because I watch all your content,
Hmm.
and a lot of the serial killers, like, they're the focus of their fixation, they kill
Yeah,
eventually. Like it's not always the first one.
right,
Like the one guy who was fixated on his mother, that was his last kill, and then he turned himself into the cops.
right. Edmund
Uh,
Kemper. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know all the names
No,
offhand,
no, no.
but
That's why I'm here. You're good. Yeah, he's had
uh,
several opportunities to end the game. Yeah, he continues.
yeah,
That's the sadistic part of him. Like that's that sadistic nature that he possesses, right? He won't end it because it's just too much fun. It's too much fun. And he likes causing harm. He likes seeing people suffer because at the end of the day, in his mind, it doesn't matter. Like they don't matter. But the people believe they do. And I think that's what also, he finds gratifying.
yeah. I The other thing I always found fascinating,
Hmm.
and this isn't the Joker himself per se, but in one of the animated films, the Under the Red Hood, based on a comic, I believe of the same name. Uh,
Is that where he kills Jason Todd? Does he kill him?
uh, it's when Jason Todd is resurrected.
Right. Right.
Uh, I don't recall if they actually show him be killed. I think they just have it like a silhouette in the background. But point being, at the end of that, Jason is resurrected because comic book BS.
Right.
Uh, and he has the Joker in a like warehouse or whatever, and
Mhm.
he has the Batman. He has Batman with him, and he says to him, "Kill the Joker or kill me. Like make your choice." And even after all that shit, Batman doesn't kill the Joker. He chooses to save the Joker because it would be too easy for him to kill, and he worries. And this is an extrapolation from a lot of other media also, basically, that if he starts, he won't stop. If he starts crossing that line, he'll find it easier and easier to do, come up with justifications. Um, so are there any I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of how to
No,
articulate
no,
my
go for it.
question.
Go for it, man. Yeah, no.
Do you think, and I know that there's no like verifiable evidence of this, that at least to an extent the one bad day thing explains some serial killers in the sense like if they hadn't have been triggered on that day for that reason, it wouldn't have started.
But see, that's tough. That's tough because in a lot of the cases that I have reviewed, a lot of the serial killers, like they fantasized, right? They fantasized about, their offenses for a long time, and those fantasies are the result it's a coping mechanism, for, any type of abuse or, inadequacies that they may feel they have. So, they have these very sadistic, twisted, disturbing fantasies about people, right? The victims. And, you know, nature and nurture like both play a part and, in that decision making process. And I don't, it for I guess for disorganized killers, I can see it more for them, right? Because they react just pure on impulse. Like they just kill on impulse, right? They really don't think about their targets, they really don't think about, discarding the bodies and locations or trying to hide the body or anything like that. They're just in there to do one thing and then they're out, right? Which is why, a lot of disorganized killers, they get caught. And there's a lot of defensive wounds on the victims. They also tend to kill close to their residence as well. Um, so I can see that more in a disorganized killer, right? Someone who, you know, they might have some mental illness and or those compulsions, those fantasies, and then something happens and they just snap and they kill and then they just keep on killing. And yeah, no, I think that a bad day can make someone snap and get to the point where those fantasies, those urges, you know they come to fruition essentially, and it makes them want to kill and then they can't stop killing.
See, yeah, that's the thing. It makes sense, but it's one of those. It's hard. You can't prove a negative, so it's
Right.
like we can't point to real life cases because if there were real life cases, there wouldn't be anything to track because no one died.
No, I mean,
I mean, you know, what I hope I'm at least making some sense. Uh,
no. No, no, trust me, you are making a lot of sense. Like, okay, so for example, I don't know if so I have another podcast aside from this one, Let's Be Frank. And on that podcast, me and my co-host Frankie, we talked about Richard Chase. I don't know if you heard that case.
I watched that video a while ago.
Yeah, I mean it was that was a while. Um Yeah, they called him the vampire of Sacramento, right? Because he had this,
Yep. Okay. Okay. Yep.
he had that fixation on blood. He was also schizophrenic, paranoid. He thought the aliens and the Nazis were going against him. He thought that the blood in his body was turning into powder, so that's why he began uh, drinking the blood of animals, killing a lot of animals, mixing it in a blender with Coca Cola, nonetheless, making a
Yeah.
little
I
smoothie.
It was the name. The
Yeah,
name. The
the
name
name.
reminded me of.
So he's like the perfect example of a disorganized serial killer, right? So like he grew up, there was some trauma in his childhood. There was some animal cruelty in his childhood. There was some bedwetting in his childhood. Like all the McDonald triad factors were involved with Richard Chase. He
I
grew up,
love that name, by the way. The
yeah, the
McDonald's.
McDonald triad. Yeah. I know it's fantastic. It's outdated. Like what we know now, there's just like way more to it. But at the time, bedwetting and animal cruelty and fire setting, those seem to be the common hallmarks of sociopathy and the development into psychopathy. But so yeah, he is exhibiting all these signs. His parents are ignoring these things. He's killing cats and animals and you know feeling powerful, for doing it because he's weak and vulnerable as a child, and his father's, abusive toward him, and his mother's not really helping him out. So that's how he's coping. So naturally, he grows up. He starts drinking, doing drugs, and that doesn't help, right? That doesn't help his mind, and from a neurobiological standpoint, that's not helping his development during his formative years. And you know eventually that schizophrenia and that paranoia kicks in, and he gets to a point where he feels like he needs blood, for to survive. And and yeah, so at that point in time, he does have this kind of strained relationship with his parents. Like his mom and dad are separated. He's living with dad, he's living with mom. It was like a back and forth thing for a while, and then he's living on his own, and he can't keep roommates because this place is not very clean. And finally, he's by himself, and he's doing what he wants, and that's where he's killing all these animals. But I feel like at this point in time, he's like comfortable with taking animal life, right? Like this thing, it's like a necessity for him.
Yeah,
It's something he needs to do. So he's completely comfortable with it. So there's a point in time what happens. I forgot how old he was, but there was a it was Christmas. It was around Christmas season, and his mother, he asked his mother if he could come be with the family for Christmas, and she said no. She said no. And I think that that was the catalyst. Like I think that was the tipping point for him when he was rejected by her once again. I think that, put him in a spiral that caused some things in his mind to snap, and he said, fuck it. I'm gonna move on from animals and just go to people now. Like I'm just gonna go to people. Like fuck it, right? Relationships are meaningless. My mom is showing me this now. Like, I mean, she's been showing me this all along, but like now I can't even get an invite to Christmas. Like I can't even come home for Christmas. Like I shouldn't even need an invite. Like I'm your kid, right? I'm your son. Like you should want me there, but you don't even want me there. You don't want me. So yeah, now he's
yeah.
seeing human life is meaningless. It's meaningless. He can use human life just like he used those pets to replenish him, that blood to replenish him. And then he goes on his spree. He legitimately, after that rejection, goes on his spree and kills 6 people or 7 people. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. So yeah, like one, I mean, he was already unhinged and was suffering from mental illness. And like I said before, like it's people had to already experience like these things to get to that point where they feel like they snap and then they just have to keep murdering. But for him, it was all mission based because he's like, I need that blood. He's like, I can get human blood. I'm graduating to human blood now. And he kills somebody, kills another woman and her baby, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think one bad day can cause anyone to snap. And it's funny because there's a story where a friend of mine was telling me how there was a case at a restaurant where this guy just stabs this waiter in the eye, just stabs him in the eye,
Out of nowhere, like
just out of nowhere, just stabs him right in the eye. And I'm thinking, like, what the hell chain of events have had to take place that had to take place to get
where that was your first response. Just
where that was your first response. Like, I'm assuming you know this person. Like, I hope you do. But if you don't, that explains a lot too. But like, what series of events took place either that day, that week, that month, or that fucking year that led you to the point where you got a knife and you stabbed someone in
was
the eye?
just waiting your table.
Yeah, he just like you fucking snapped and just fucking stabbed someone. Rejection, man. Rejection and humiliation and these things can be very triggering. Very, very triggering. So I'm sorry if I know I went on this big ass diatribe.
No, that's exactly what I meant. The biggest thing for me was you can't prove a negative. So it's like
Yeah,
you can't say that that's the case because you can't be
right.
like this isn't Doctor Who. Unfortunately, you can't look in an alternate universe and go in this universe. In this universe, the Austrian painter was actually very successful, so he never went into politics.
Right. But now I'm like curious. I know Richard Chase was like mission based, like he's like, I gotta get this blood. But I'm like very curious if there was like a disorganized serial killer that was just like, fuck it. Like I'm just gonna do it, who like snapped one day and killed and just kept on killing. Like I know that happens with organized killers, right? They're like they do it one day. I think BTK, Dennis Rader, he would like always fantasized about it, right? I think I he was the one who would like dress in his victim's clothes and tie himself up
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, yep,
just
yep.
to
And he got
relive
got
those
off on it. Yeah.
fantasies. Yeah. And like I know he said that he always thought about it until one day his I guess his life was falling apart, and his dream job, or I guess the job that he believed to be his dream job, he lost it. So things were spiraling for him. He was essentially losing control, and that's what made him you know take that first step and kill though that family that he murdered. And then he just he continued. He just planned out his next murders. He called them projects. He had names for them. And yeah, he just kept on doing it. So but yeah, it's crazy. But so I hope, yeah, I hope that was like
No, yeah, no, I could see it if somebody had a big enough chain of bad luck, or either genuine bad luck or bad luck, uh, and it just snowballed and boom.
yeah.
Uh, I was just wondering if that was a thing.
That's the stuff that like fascinates me more. It's like it's very tragic and very awful and sad, and hang what these people do to the victims and their families, and it's fucked up, right? What fascinates me as a student of psychology is the human mind. It's like what gets someone to that point. And the ones for me is the ones where the stories where these individuals just snap. They just snap and kill. And it's like, wow, like what like wow, what led to that decision? What led you there, that you felt like this was the only thing I could do, or this is the only thing that would make me feel better? And now I'm just trying to feel better again and again and again and again and again. And it's just like it's a drug. It's a
For
drug.
me, of the ones you've covered so far, the one I've
Mhm.
always found the most chilling was actually that the guy who was a pastor and a husband and a father, and he literally brought his kid to the murder scenes.
The
Uh,
pastor.
Basically, he said if the kid
Oh,
cried or something,
oh, was it Gary Ridgway? Was it that one where
that's the one. Yeah, he said he would kill. He would,
oh,
if the
yeah,
kid was
yeah.
disruptive, he would kill him. Like,
Gary
what
Ridgway
the?
would bring his kids on the road with him because he drove those big 18 wheelers or whatever, and I guess he had a prostitute with him, and he said if his kid had any inclination of what he was doing, because his kid was young, thankfully, thank God, like his kid was young. He's like, if my kid had any inclination of what I was doing, I would have killed him, like on the spot. No thought about it. No thought about it. Self preservation was far more important than the life of his own son. His own son. Psychopathy, right there. Right there. It's yeah, that kind of stuff. That stuff is chilling, man. Like
I
that's
mean,
wild.
you've covered some awful people on your show, but that one to me just like your kid though. Like
I
the
know.
fact
It's
the fact that his kid didn't even rate a consideration.
no, didn't.
Just like he rated a consideration as a prop. That's it.
Yes. Look at me. I'm the disarming, unassuming dad. Look at my kid in this picture. Isn't he so cute? Nothing's going to happen to you because I'm so loving. Like, that's that superficial charm shit, manipulativeness that a lot of, killers are good at. They're just good at it. It's scary and eerie, like how good they are at that. I mean, the Joker is very good at it too, just being very manipulative and charming. Like,
He he managed to turn his psychiatrist into
yes.
his fucking sidekick. Oh,
Yeah, she
personal.
fucking got Stockholmed. She got fucking Stockholmed by the Joker. Yeah, and she's supposed to be competent and very smart, and she fell for it all. So, like, yeah, like that can happen. Like those things are real. Like that can happen for sure. But that's the Joker for you. But I do love what you were talking about as far as his relationship with Batman, right? Like that dynamic trying to prove to Batman that, nothing matters, and, the world is very, everything, it's just very nihilistic. And
He's unironically trying to prove that we're not so different, you and I.
yeah,
Like
we're not
that's
yeah, yeah. That is what he's trying to prove. I mean, he broke, well, at least in the Dark Knight film, he did break Harvey. He broke Harvey.
yeah, because I mean he made Harvey into a nihilist who only believed in chance.
Yeah. And
So
Harvey was supposed to be incorruptible, right? The best of them. Like that was supposed to be Harvey Dent. So, I mean, was it Harvey that said, what did he say? He said,
if you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself
self
become the
become
villain.
the villain. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love that quote
that's one of the best lines in the movie.
for sure. And yeah, he fucking broke Harvey, and Harvey's like, yeah, now I believe in chance, and now I have this nihilistic view. So yeah, like that's what he wants for Batman. And Batman, Batman's got his code and his rules, and he just can't break them, right? He can't break his no kill rule, because I feel like he has that that urge in him to do it. I feel like he can easily, especially from the trauma that he had growing up, parentless, killed in front of him. Like these things, these things tend to foster, aggressive and violent behavior over time.
The difference is, well, or at least a couple of the differences is Batman knows this. He's
Yeah,
fully aware of it,
the aware.
and
Yeah,
he's actively fighting it.
yeah,
Like that's I think that's the more than anything else, that's the reason he doesn't kill the Joker.
and I think
Uh,
I think in knowing what happened to his parents, I think a part of him doesn't want to become that, right? Become that person to take away, a human life that, someone else might care about or someone else may love. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to cross that line to hurt not only them but their loved ones and their family, because, he was in that position himself, even though he knows he's capable of it and has a strong desire to do it, yet he doesn't. He doesn't.
I think Batman and Daredevil would have a lot to say to each other.
Ooh, that would be a good argument to see. I would love to see them talk for sure. I would love to see them talk. Just their world views, similar backgrounds, similar. I mean, dead parent, right? Dead
Yeah, both
parents.
both at least ostensibly dead because of something they did.
Yeah,
Bruce in making them leave the theater, and Matt in Dad, don't fight him as hard as you can.
fight him as hard as you can. He not wanting to let down his son. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm not saying it actually is their fault. I'm not trying to say
No,
that,
no, no,
but
no.
from a
But they would blame
traumatized
themselves.
child, yeah,
Yeah.
from a traumatized child's perspective,
They would internalize that blame and be like, it's my fault because like I wanted to leave early, or because I made my dad
wanted my
feel
dad to
that,
win.
yeah, I wanted my dad to
Yeah,
win. So no, yeah. No, I agree with that. That makes sense. Yeah, so what I wrote up about Batman, just real quick, I said his rigid no kill rule is a direct overcompensation against his own latent rage and violent impulses, right? He knows he has the capability and possibly even the desire under extreme conditions to kill. So he builds an unbreakable rule to prevent crossing the line. It's not just about sparing others, it's about containing himself as well. So I think that,
I think
kind of,
that's very true. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and Joker just loves poking at it.
Yeah, and Joker just because Joker just can't fathom the ideal of, having that family, right? That loved you and cared about you, and you saw what happened to them, and he's like, why not get vengeance? Why not cross that line? And Bruce is like, no, like I don't want to do that. I don't want to become, that which I'm trying to, you know, protect these people from these city from. Like I don't want to become that person, you know. So, which makes their dynamic great. And I love how the Joker was supposed to be just like a one-off character in the comics, but he was like just a fan favorite. They loved him, so they kept him on. They just kept it going. They kept
You,
it going.
you know, random bit of trivia. Do you know Batman's original rule? Do you know what his original rule was? That he would not kill with guns. In other words, original Golden Age Batman was perfectly willing to kill people. He just wouldn't use a gun to do
Just wouldn't use a gun to do.
it.
I was gonna say there are some iterations where he's like, I don't give a fuck, like I'm gonna do it.
I just find that funny, and that like I think very obviously, because Snyder tried this. You make Batman a killer, it's gonna bother a lot of people, and rightly so.
Yes.
But at least
Yeah.
I just find it interesting in the Golden Age that his rigid no kill rule was he wouldn't kill, comma, with guns.
My first rule is I don't kill dot 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 with guns. But I will fuck your shit up with my fist. So oh
And
man,
that's just a rule. That's just something I found out about. Like, I found that fascinating. That this stalwart no kill rule just started as I'm just not going to kill him with a gun. Like I'll kill him, just not going to
no,
use a
that's
gun to do
great. That's fucking great.
it.
That's why the Batman, like just Batman comics and the characters, his rogues gallery, all of it is just probably my favorite. Honestly, I love all that shit. Maybe because that's why I'm just sick in the head myself. You know, they say that's why a lot of psychology students major in it because they're trying to find out what's wrong with them, what's wrong with themselves. So
Yeah, I
maybe.
mean, totally fair.
Nah. But yeah, do you have any other questions about the Joker? So here's my thing. I think the Joker probably, I guess my assessment or his childhood, right? If he did have a backstory and it was a reliable one, I would say he probably would have grown up in a household where he was abandoned, neglected, and abused physically and emotionally, either by dad, by mom, by both. You know, the people who are supposed to be there for him, love him unconditionally, and they're the exact opposite of that. And he grows up having attachment issues. He grows up having a hard time processing, you know, empathy and remorse and, you know, having a hard time processing moral reasoning and, you know, regulating his emotions, you know. And I think that he would have seen the world as threatening and seen relationships uh as harmful as well, and which would have um created this very nihilistic worldview that he has. So I mean that's just
No,
my
that makes sense. So what you're saying is he's damaged.
At the end of the day, he's just what Jared Leto had tattooed on his forehead. He's damaged.
Had to do it. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
It was
that's
right
good.
there.
That's good. That is good. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in to episode 1 of Fictional Character Friday. On our next episode, I do want to talk about a character from this show called You. I don't know if you've seen this show or heard of this show.
No and
Uh,
no.
okay, so it's on Netflix, and the main character, his name is Joe Goldberg, and he has an obsessive compulsive fixation on romance. and romantic partners. And he has extreme attachment issues, which leads to him surveilling his victims, invasively monitoring them, emotionally manipulating them. I mean, there's a lot. And then he kills under the guise of being, a protector or a lover, right? Like he's one for the books for sure. But I do want to talk about Joe Goldberg because I think you would get a kick out of him. And you don't like he has this show on Netflix called funny enough, I believe that show started, I think either it was TLC or it was Lifetime. I think there were when the show first premiered, and it was very popular. I think it got one season and then they like scrapped it. And then it was like so popular that they decided to, I think Netflix ended up, buying it, and then they ended up cranking out four more seasons. So, but I like the show because you get it from it's his narration from his point of view, right? Like he's the serial killer. It's from his point of view. It's similar to the character in my book that I'm writing, right? My book, From Serial to Serial Killer, has a character similar to Joe Goldberg in the sense that there's that inner monologue, that narration that he's providing just about his obsessions and fixations. That I mean, he doesn't outwardly say these things, but we see them underneath the surface. And I think he'd be a fascinating case to discuss. And you don't really have to watch the show to like, I'm sure if you wanted to do some research and just read up on him, like I can send you like a couple of articles or whatever.
Uh,
Um
Sounds good. I just don't know if I have like if I can do like 4 seasons in a week.
no, 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 no. Yeah, no, I do. That's why this is like character focused. Like I can send you a couple of articles that just kind of encapsulates like who he is and his motivations and things like that. And then we can sort of just talk about him as the next fictional character, and then the next one we can talk about whomever. There's a whole list and line of fictional characters that we can go through that I'm pretty pumped to discuss. So, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Can I put somebody on the docket?
Yeah, yeah.
Siler.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I said, this is gonna be fun. This is going to be fun. But yeah, stab that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think about the Joker. If you're a fan, if you're not a fan, if you have questions. Yeah, just share all your thoughts for sure, as well as sharing this video out there and hitting that bell for notifications. And in my Murder and Mayhem Monday episode, I usually tell people to avoid mayhem, but maybe I'll just say or not.
And I'll just say, everyone, thank you for watching and put on a happy face.